Greetings everyone and welcome to Civilization VII. The game has been announced already a couple of weeks ago, but at Gamescom we finally saw hands-on gameplay. I'd like to show you all the infos we have so far and all the changes we know of. Some of them will surprise you and feel familiar to other 4X games, while others will downright shock you. This is divided into two sections. We're going to have a look at the gameplay overview first and then also hands-on gameplay, right? So all the new infos, all the new mechanics that we know of so far, and then some gameplay of the game itself. So first, the game is actually coming out pretty soon, February 11th, 2025, and it comes to all the available platforms: PC, PS, Xbox, and Switch. Yes, there will be even gamepad control scheme, and we probably will also be able to use it on PC, since Civ 6 already supports that. The new narrator is Gwendolyn Christie, that you might know from Game of Thrones as Brienne Tarth. Her voice definitely fits, I think, and I'm looking forward to hearing from her in the game. Let's have a quick look at her introduction.
Throughout our history, ordinary people have done extraordinary things, illuminating our potential. They inspired movements, created the impossible, and destroyed the indestructible. Ordinary people chose to change the world, chose to dream, to build, to hope, to always hope. And if there's hope for one of us, there's hope for us all. Now it's your turn to reimagine civilization.
The gameplay we've seen so far is playing with Egypt and starts at the beginning of the Antiquity Age. Yes, it's not ancient times, as Civ 7 is not going to use the same era progress, but is divided into three major chapters: the Antiquity, Age of Exploration, and Modern Times. Each era has its own tech tree, units, and goals. In order to progress, you will have to reach certain milestones in different branches like science, culture, military, and economic. When you reach a full legacy path in a branch, you achieve a golden age with new bonuses like spawning a military unit in every settlement. For victory, we need to reach era-wide milestones like having 7 world wonders or 25 resources in your settlements. Now, this actually brings the biggest change in Civ 7 with it, the end of an era. Once you reach all the points necessary, you can advance to the next chapter. However, there is a new event kicking in, the crisis, like overpopulation in ancient times. In this crisis mode, you have to choose cards or policies to solve this crisis. There is a new progress bar that shows you how far advanced the crisis is and how you can solve it. These policies have bonuses, but mostly penalties. Once the crisis has been resolved, you advance to the next chapter and you choose a new civilization. Yep, that's right. You actually change your civilization to another one, just like in Humankind, and play with that in the new era. All your cities change and advance as well, change their assets, their skins, their units. Each starter civilization has a set of new civs they can advance to, and all of these require certain actions, like having 3 horse resources as Egypt, for example, to become Mongolia. To be honest, I never really enjoyed the civ change in Humankind, so perhaps Civ and Civ makes it a bit more plausible to use, but I'm very skeptical about that. Another huge change is going to be the district themes or the district buildings that we have. So as we begin, we have to once again choose between different starter units like the Scout or earlier fighters like the Magi for the Egypt. First tags like sailing and animal husbandry or pottery need to be chosen, and first city development points need to be planned. There's not going to be the science or theater district anymore, however. We now have to choose between buildings that are built on the right tiles and develop those into specialized buildings or districts later. These new buildings need to be adjacent to other city tiles to add more organic looking cities, but they can't be on their own anymore, right? There's also not going to be a builder unit anymore, so this is actually something I'm going to miss, I think. When it comes to diplomacy, we also see massive changes. No longer can we trade with super specific objects like influence, but rather choose a set of actions with limited influence points. Now you need to be more careful to go into diplomacy when deciding between open borders with another civilization or actually opening up trade routes. Both at the same time might be hard to achieve, as these actions cost you points and you only have a limited amount of them. Especially when another civilization declares war on you and you could force a ceasefire with a huge amount of influence points, but you have already used that on trade routes. So you always need to choose carefully and probably also have a reserve of them available. So choose carefully. This adds a whole new minigame to Civ rather than just spamming small trades. The tag tree has also been changed quite a bit. We now have not one universal tag tree anymore that every player races through, but rather chapter-specific tag branches that you can research and take into the next chapter, and also cultural specific tags that you should research before going into the next chapter. So for the Egyptians, we can see some improvements for their income, for unlockable wonders like the pyramids, for example. Based on this, I think we don't have to compete for the same wonder anymore with other players, but rather have our own set of wonders we can build. In addition, tags allow us now to unlock new mechanics and also improve buildings that we already have. A new massive change is the Commander. The Commander overhauls the army system. We now have a central unit that combines armies rather than commanding dozens of units yourself tediously on the map. You can now just use the Commander with whole troops in it. The Commander can be upgraded and specialized, using one for defense and another for offense, for example. You can still use units yourself, but only with Commanders will they get their full potential. Commanders also have a limit on how many troops they can lead. The combat itself still takes place on the real map and not on a special battlefield like in Humankind. So this have been all the new infos that we know so far about Civilization 7. I hope you enjoyed this little overview.